and welcome to my podcast in Aware Nari. And I'm so excited to talk to you today about an issue that is very close to my heart as well. Being born in India, I have experienced it, I have seen it in my family where colorism is a major pain point for many women that I
First of all, let me say thank you to you for giving me this opportunity to have this discussion, because the more we talk about it, the more comfortable we'll become in calling it out. And colorism is something that is so deeply entrenched in our society that we need to keep having these conversations. So I really appreciate this.
I would love to discuss more about colorism with you because I've read your book and it's an amazing anecdote. You've included your own personal experiences. You talk about as a child, and then you talk about it as a grown-up, as an older woman, and that is amazing to see the journey that you've taken and how boldly and how clearly you have come out and said, this is wrong, we need to change the narrative and we need to change things and talk about it and challenge it. So my first question to you is, what is the difference between colorism and racism? Because sometimes people confuse racism is about color. What is the difference between the two?
The difference between colorism and racism is that colorism is something that you predominantly experience based on your skin tone, very often within your own community. Whilst racism is something that you experience outside of your own race. So, for example, growing up in Japan, I experienced racism. Although it wasn't overt, there was racism that I experienced because of my appearance being different, my culture being different, my background being different, everything. Colorism is not something that you necessarily experience within your own community, although more often than not that's the case. Like, for example, in the case of the South Asian community, we are like obsessed with skin color, right, and skin tone and fairness. You can also experience it outside of your own community and your own race, like implicit bias. You just tend to naturally go for somebody who is of a lighter skin tone. And that's the bias that we're fighting in this day and age, in India, and what continues to still, happen, and how rampant it is there.
Yes. And I feel that as an immigrant living in different countries outside of India, you get to see both racism and colorism. My next question to you is, how does colorism impact mental health, especially among younger kids, among young girls and boys who have brown parents? They know that they are coming from a country or coming from a lineage where their parents are brown, but then when they are darker or lighter or whichever color they are, they have to feel it's very obvious, and they talk about it. It's in social media, it's in Bollywood, it's in movies. So how does that impact kids, and how does it shape their personalities, shape their lives, shape their worldview, so to speak? So how can you talk to moms who have it?
It has a detrimental impact on, an individual's self-esteem. Unfortunately, one of the first questions that is asked when a baby is born in our culture is, what's her color? Or what's his color? Right? They're celebrating if the baby is born Gora or Gori, and if the baby is has more of a darker skin tone, then there's a bit of disappointment, right? From that moment on, although a little baby obviously cannot understand the words, but psychologically, from that point on to the point when a child starts understanding, and it all starts coming together, from what I understand, based on some research that I've done, at the age of 6. At the age of 6, basically, you start to create, you start to have these perceptions of how the world views you and how you view the world. And at the age of 6, if you are basically told you're dark and you need to protect your color, at the age of 6 as a child, you're told that you can't play out in the sun because your color is far more important than you having a good time out there, which is what a child should be doing. From that point on, they've already created this this idea in their head that they're inadequate because of their color and that they need to protect their color. Color is far more important to the world and their community than anything else. Because everything revolves around color. Then you're told as you grow older, especially as women, right? And as young girls, you're told, oh, this color doesn't look good on you. You shouldn't be wearing this. Yeah. If you dare tan, then the first thing that the mother is doing is dragging you to the bathroom to put on some basin and milk, some home remedies to get rid of the tan, right? And lemon and all that, and like natural bleaching. When you become a teenager, you start to see the world in a different light because you start to then engage with social media. You start to watch Bollywood movies, or even the Western world, has these sort of Eurocentric beauty standards, right? What is it? It's essentially fair skin, light eyes, straight hair, slim body, blah de blah de blah de blah. I mean, I can kind of list, a million other things. And of course, with our culture, if you're fair, you're beautiful. I mean, the two are essentially synonyms, right, in our culture. That is something that, obviously, as a teenager, is when it's fed into your mind, that has a detrimental impact on your self-esteem. And in my case, it did massively. Because no matter what people tell you, oh, you're looking pretty in this or whatever, I used to always actually wonder, is it genuine? Is the compliment genuine? Because it can't be, and you start to doubt yourself. You start to see yourself through the eyes of the beauty world and the social media world and the Bollywood world. Right. And everybody's fair in Bollywood. All the A-list actresses are fair in Bollywood. I mean, and then of course, when it comes to marriage, you're being told, well, you need to start lightening up and you need to wear lighter makeup, lighter foundation. When you take like studio photographs, if you're going down the arranged marriage route, then there's like blinding lights in your face to make you look lighter. Photographs are being edited. I mean, it just goes on and on and on to the point where you just feel like you just can't be a natural, like studio photographs.
I mean, in your book, I understand that it did not come from your immediate family, like your parents and your family. But I've seen many times that parents are the ones who start this, and then it becomes even more difficult for the child because you see your beauty from your parents' eyes, and when they see you as you're too dark or you're not fair enough, then I feel that's when you start internalizing it, and then you define yourself, okay, this is not good. And then Bollywood and everything else, the society, the friends, they pile up on that emotion that was already built in. So I feel that it's critical for moms to understand that just because it was done, just because they grew up in a society believing and understanding and it's ingrained in you, doesn't mean that you carry it forward and pass it on to your daughters or your sons, for that matter. Every color is beautiful. If you go out, I feel you'll get sunburned. I think that's a valid reason to tell the child instead of saying you'll get dark. And I've seen this question on moms groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, where moms are constantly asking my very young child, like my toddler is too dark, what basin, what paste, what do I make, home remedies, and I see the answers. There are like 40-50 answers to that question. Apply this, apply that. So that I felt that now that I've seen Barbies in every color, I've seen white Barbies and darker Barbies and everything in between, I felt that the world is definitely changing and moving towards a better place. But then looking at these posts where people are applying all these home remedies to lighten the skin colors, I feel that there's still work to be done. And
100%. Yes.
Yeah, especially Asian society. Yeah.